Hello, and welcome back to my Power Racers Retrospective. My name is Jack Back, and today we'll be taking a look at set 8384, the Jungle Crasher. Here, we have a prime example of the other type of vehicle seen in this wave, being more of a monster truck than a sleek race car. While I'm personally more partial to the race car designs, these designs are great too, and they have an extra play feature in the form of this bar at the back, which can be pressed down to make the car pull a wheelie. But more on that later. Now, as for the Jungle Crasher itself, I have to say, any actual jungle theming here is pretty weak. It just looks like a green monster truck to me. That being said, it's not a bad green monster truck, though I'd say we have better offerings ahead. And no, not just because it's lime and orange. As for notable elements, again, all the greys, including the pullback motor. Out of the greys, these rims are even more notable as they're actually set exclusive. Other first-timers are the black roll cage, as well as almost every single lime element in the set, with the only exception surprisingly being these printed curved slope pieces, though they do still remain rare, as there is only one other set to feature them. Same applies for the bar plate. Finally, quite surprisingly, this green bracket actually makes its final appearance here. While we're still on the subject of color, I would like to note that this is the only set in the sub-theme to really feature regular green at all. After this, we've basically only got lime in place of green. Now, with all that out of the way, let's give driving this thing a shot. Before we're done, we'll have to cover the combiner model between the Jungle Crasher and the Red Maniac. So, here we have it. The combiner models between Power Racer sets don't really have names as far as I know, so I'll call this the Red Crasher. Using 2/3 of the available pieces, we're left with what looks like a heavily armored vehicle of some sort. What really lends to this idea for me is the small wheels at the front and back. With the way they're attached, they can kind of flop around and it makes them feel almost disposable, like they're just extra material to protect the meat of the vehicle. This floppiness isn't all sunshine and rainbows though, since it can also be annoying. It could also be seen as a way to simulate suspension, but it doesn't. And these rear wheels can come into direct contact with the big wheels, which won't cause issues if you're driving this on a flat surface, but it's worth pointing out. Notable also is that this combiner model uses very little that's recognizably from the Jungle Crasher, with every single lime piece being left over. Despite this, the combiner model does seem to form something of a gradient, starting with the Red Maniac at the front and ending with the Jungle Crasher at the back, though that's not to say that this vehicle recycles much from the two vehicles. The only thing that's really recycled is the engine build up here, which is almost completely ripped from the Red Maniac. Oh well, it looked cool then, and looks cool now too. Now, let's finally take this tank for a spin. Since this thing uses both motors from the sets, we'll be seeing double the power. With that, we've reached the end of today's episode. Tune in again next time as we make our way further down the racetrack.